No, I want to avoid the tech issue thing on the bingo sheet. Here we are.
Thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Keira.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we're going all over continental United States, honestly. Published August 1st, 2023. Kiss the Girl is the third book in the Meant-to-Be series, this time bringing The Little Mermaid into the modern contemporary romance genre. After 15 years of show business, Ariel Del Mar is desperate for a break from her megastar status. But is it even possible with her dadager? You know, like the Kardashians, a momager. It's fine. And will running away with Eric Reyes' up-and-coming band prove to be helpful, or will it all go up in flames? / turn to sea foam.
Good one.
You know, as the tale goes. We're back!
Yay! Third time's a charm, right?
Third time's a charm. This series is trying? ?
I was trying to keep count. Are there 2 left? Is it just Rapunzel and then Mulan?
So yeah, we have 2 left and then we're caught up. There might be a release in 2026. Nothing has been announced, but...
Do we want to hedge bets on what it is?
I'm feeling Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They seem to be going more classic. Maybe a Jasmine.
Well, Mulan isn't classic.
Well, I'm thinking classic because you have Cinderella, and then it looks like they're having more the Renaissance, but I guess they use Tangled.
Yeah, we've had 1 classic, 2 Renaissance, a modern post-Renaissance, and then we're back to Renaissance again. So maybe they're going to try and cash in on live-action Moana.
That just seems a little too current to be like, no, guys, really, you love this series.
It's not too current for them to not live-action remake it.
That's a whole other thing.
I have thoughts, and I don't want to get into them. I'm mad about it.
My bet is either Sleeping Beauty or Jasmine. Aurora or Jasmine is my bets.
I'm trying to even imagine what a modern day Sleeping Beauty, because I mean, Aurora's cool. She's one of my favorites.
Aurora's great, Philip's great, but from this book, clearly it just needs to be tangentially related. She took a nap, okay? She has narcolepsy.
She went off social media for a week, and that's the equivalent of being disconnected and fast asleep.
So yeah, we don't even need to worry about the concerning stuff.
Not at all.
Just ignore that completely. This is The Bachelor. What are you talking about? Which this book does reference Before Midnight, and I kind of love it.
I was listening to it on audiobook and I stopped and went, oh, I was delighted by that. Makes you wonder why they didn't reference, what was it called? This Provincial Life TV show or Maurice Publishing? Where was the Maurice Publishing name drop?
I don't believe for a second this author actually read the other book. She gave a review, but I don't believe it for a second. But anyway, this is a new author?
Yeah.
Her name intimidates me.
Say it into the microphone.
Give me a second. Where's YouTube?
You got this. I believe in you.
My dyslexia gives me fear. Okay, so this is saying Zoraida Cordova.
That sounds right.
So we have Zoraida Cordova. She was born in Ecuador and apparently a huge fan of Little Mermaid. She said even before she knew English, she would just watch reruns of it over and over and over again, which we love to see. We love to see authors obsessed with the IP getting to put their own spin on the IP. That's a great time. That's a little girl's dream come true, and we're so happy for it. She was raised in Queens, New York. So born in Ecuador, raised in Queens, New York. She found a passion for books and writing in middle school thanks to books by Amelia Atwater Rhodes, who wrote fantasy. It all looks pretty emo. The covers of her earlier stuff, I'm not 100% sure exactly which books truly, but in 2000 we have Demon in My View, and it's a white face and black and then a green eye, and then it looks like she's crying blood. And then Shattered Mirror, which same font, so probably same series. Oh, we have a 1999 In the Forest of the Night.
These are all very, very cool titles.
They are. I'm not sure which one's the series. I'm just looking at the title. But she writes fantasy.
Yeah, glancing at her hoopla, she's a hired by Disney Star Wars girly, which makes sense because there is a lot of Star Wars references in this.
Oh, cool because I was going to save it for the end, but Zoraida also does Star Wars IP work.
I feel like it's a small wheelhouse over at Hyperion Publishing. I feel like they're like, hey, you just wrote this princess book, write us some Star Wars. I'm noticing she wrote the other Galaxy's Edge book, which I haven't read yet, because when I go to a theme park land, I need to fully have read all the tie-in novels, and I'm only halfway there with Galaxy's Edge. I've only read one of the two, so good to know I'll be in good company when I finally get to that other one. She's also done, I think, some High Republic stuff, which is pretty cool. I'm about to delve into that world.
Very exciting. But yes, she is mainly an author of mid-lit and YA fantasy. So this is also her first book was a successful NaNoWriMo book writing. Okay, so there's a certain vibe you get off authors who are like, I wrote my first book thanks to NaNoWriMo. And it's people like Jessie Q Sutanto.
Oh, right. Okay.
Who is the fifth one. And you read her books and you're just like, what is happening? What is going on? What is happening? What? And you keep going. And it's a very, very specific experience where it feels like you're discovering the plot at the same time the author is discovering the plot. And then they go back and do an edit, of course. But her writing style did not immediately make me think NaNoWriMo.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's just a little bit more polished, a little bit more very thought through. I don't know how to say it. And that's not a dig at Jessie Q Sutanto, but okay, maybe some of her later aunties' books. But
I think, and it's something we can get into when we get into the book proper, but strictly speaking within this series, I will say, I can't speak for different styles of writing like that, but I think noticeably there is a lot more craftsmanship going on here that really sets it apart from what either of the first two books could do.
Yes.
But we don't need to get into that just yet. But I will say, without knowing the specific terminology for it, I think there is a difference here, to me at least.
She doesn't feel like a pantser.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it, actually.
That's literally what they're called, is they're pantsers.
Oh.
You have planners who start down, write a book, they have an outline and an idea and all of that. And then you have pantsers, which NaNoWriMo culture-wise does encourage, like, hey, anyone, drop on in November, just start writing. Put words to paper. That's all that really matters.
Right.
And so it does create this very specific writing style where I have read, it just has a very specific writing style. But here's the fun fact. So I'm like, okay, she writes mid-lit and YA fantasy. She got into Star Wars, which is probably how she got into this. She already had that Disney connection. But she does write romance.
Oh, all right.
She is a romance writer. She uses the name Zoe Castile. So I'm reading her Wikipedia page, right?
Okay.
And
I'm so excited. I didn't look into anything, so this is all fresh off the presses.
So she writes romance novels, and verbatim, quote, she also writes romance under the pen name Zoe Castile. And so I sat there and I was like, that's really interesting. So she does have a romance background. Why the pen name? And if she is using this pen name for romance, why didn't she use her romance pen name for this book, right?
Uh-oh.
The sentence continues. Most notably, her Magic Mike inspired happy ending series about male strippers falling in love.
Oh, delightful. Oh, I'm so proud of her. I want to read those.
Oh, I understand why Disney did not want Zoe Castile to be writing this romance novel.
Yeah, it would make for a funny, also by this author section, the front Star Wars, male strippers.
There's several books in that series.
Honestly, good for her. Finding her niche and just sticking with it. Everyone loves Magic Mike. It's a cinematic treasure. So, cheers.
Okay, so she has 11 books under that author. The beginning of the happy endings, the title's just stripped.
Subtle.
The second one is Hired. The third one is Flashed. It looks like it's a trilogy. Oh no. So Zoe has also been a part of what looks like a series that is written by different authors. Zoe wrote a Little Mermaid inspired. The title is The Captive Merman's Promise.
Ooh.
So
maybe it helped for her to get all this mermaid writing out of her system.
Well, that book came out in 2022. So potentially she wrote that and then she wrote this.
Yeah, maybe she was like, oh, I love The Little Mermaid. I'm so excited to write this book, but it can't be about mermaids. Shoot, let me get it all out of my system right now.
The covers alone, I haven't read the synopsis, but the covers alone tell me that they're spicy.
Ooh, okay, even better.
And so she's like, I can't do spicy.
She's like, I can't be spicy, can't get mermaids. Yeah, just chuck it all into one book.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about her. She seems like a fun time, just in general. But background for Little Mermaid for us.
Yeah.
So she was my favorite until Tiana came along.
Interesting. Okay.
And Tiana and Moana are kind of tied for me.
Wow.
I liked Ariel better than Beauty and the Beast. I wasn't able to enunciate very well as a kid. Why? But as an adult, it's because she sings this great song about wanting adventure in the great wide somewhere. So she goes somewhere 20 minutes from home and she's like, that's good enough. It's just not the adventure seeker like Ariel.
Right.
I wanted adventure. She wanted adventure. I had redhead envy. So it was perfect.
Little Mermaid is interesting because I didn't own it on DVD until I was in high school, in college, whatever, when I was upgrading to Blu-ray. I decided to pick up Little Mermaid on Blu-ray then.
I had it on VHS, baby.
Yeah, no, I missed the VHS and I missed DVD, even though I had plenty of the other Disney movies, Cinderella, Aladdin, all those as they came out on the special edition DVDs they were churning out in the 2000s. I had nearly all the princess movies except for this one, which is weird.
Very specific.
Yeah, but it's not like I wasn't familiar with Little Mermaid, but until I was watching it as a teenager, my closest connection to it was through, I don't know if they had this over in America, but in Britain they had Disney Bookclub. So this was kind of like what they had with the Disney Movie Club, where it's kind of a scam, but it's a proto subscription service where you pay a crazy amount every month and they send you the newest Disney movie or whatever. It was that, but it was with books. It was picture book versions of all the different Disney films. And Little Mermaid was one of the ones we had. We had them for tons of the movies, and including movies that I wouldn't see until that same, when I was getting more interested in the history of animation, interested in Disney as a cultural zeitgeist or whatever. Rescuers Down Under I never saw, but I was familiar with because of these books. Little Mermaid was one of those, which of that oeuvre, of that canon of Disney films, I can understand people maybe not having seen Rescuers Down Under, but it was weird for me to have not seen Little Mermaid. And then by the time I did watch it, when I was getting really into the history of it, I loved it, but I liked it primarily as a moment in Disney history in terms of, oh, this is the start of the Renaissance. Oh, this is Howard Ashman's, this is his movie. I am of the firm belief that Howard Ashman is the reason we still have Disney to this day, the songwriter behind Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and like one or two songs off Aladdin before he died of AIDS. I was more won over by Little Mermaid through that perspective as an adult, just because of its historical significance for Disney and because of Howard Ashman's genius. I don't have as much nostalgic attachment to it. And that's not to say I don't like it. I actually love it a lot. I resonate with it deeply for queer reasons, but then also for Howard Ashman's queerness, I think, being omnipresent in the songs. So that's all to say, even if there's not much nostalgic attachment to this film, it's a film I do adore. I think it's a very pivotal and important piece of Disney history, not just from a historical perspective, but it's also very entertaining. So it's not one I grew up with.
That was such an artsy way to look at it.
Yes. If we're talking animation history, I'm very glad I had that soapbox, because if we're talking animation history, I can wax poetic for God knows how long. But if we're talking literature, it gets a little trickier.
Yeah, it's just such a cultural moment to go from when you're a little kid and her going, I'm 16, I'm an adult. And you're like, yeah, Ariel, you tell him. And then you're 16. And I remember thinking at that point, I mean, yeah.
She's right.
But also, there was something switching there where I was just a little bit, I agreed with Ariel that he was being a jerk, you know, whatever. And then you get into your 20s, you join the real world, and you're just like, Ariel, shut up. Your dad is showing a horrible problem-solving skills here and isn't really thinking.
But Daddy, I love him.
But Daddy, I love him. This book took that relationship in a very interesting way. But before we get into that, age level, this is an adult book.
There was some F-bombs. There was some swear words.
There was some language in it.
Sex is still a hard no.
Here's the thing, though. Language, death of a parent's a really big thing. Abusive control, 100% beginning to the end. Sex is mentioned, but there is nudity.
Oh, right.
And can we talk about a man man written by a woman. This dude who is insanely attractive to this other woman goes skinny dipping with her from his POV. We are getting the skinny dipping from his POV.
Very perspective, not even tempted to glance. Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't glance, doesn't think about it, doesn't even have a moment of, oh my gosh, I'm naked in a pool with this woman that I'm very attracted to. It's not even a thought in his brain. Okay.
He's a real one for it. He's a good man.
It's not even about being like a horn dog. Like, I would be distracted. I'm really attracted to this person. Holy crap, we are alone and naked in a pool. Nope, it's another day for them. That whole scene was so unrealistic to me.
I will say, I don't think the man being written by a woman symptom is as noticeable with the character itself.
No, I don't think it's as noticeable. It was just at that specific moment.
It's more just that one specific instant, yeah.
I think she does a really good job with Eric in general. It's a man written by a woman, period.
Right.
Whatever. But there is a trope, and for the most part, she avoids that trope.
Right.
He's very romantic, though. He's a very romantic person, which guys are allowed to be.
Absolutely.
They can be that. But yeah, in that very specific scene. But also I was like, Disney's just allowing this? No sex, guys. You can't even have a steamy makeout session. Anyway, nudity. Let's all go skinny dipping. Okay, Disney. I just have questions.
Just a couple questions. Just a couple concerns.
Just a couple questions. Anyway, judge a book by its cover. It's Ariel. I was thinking maybe it was a battle of a band situation, or they were starting a band together, because it's her singing into a microphone and him playing a guitar, which, by the way, if they didn't sing together by the end of the book, I was going to rebel. They do at the very, very end.
Right.
But I was going to rebel.
I was fully on board with these two are going to be Battle of the Bands. When I've been looking at all these covers, I've more been thinking about the tropes of book talk and adult romance as a genre, less so Disney animation. And like, oh, obviously I know that we're coming up on Tangled, we're coming up on Mulan. So I have a gem of an idea. But with this one specifically, I was more thinking, oh, they're leaning into the music angle of Little Mermaid. Just immediately in my head, it was, oh, touring rivalry band, no question about it.
Eh?
Even when the book started, I wasn't fully off of that train because in my head, she's a pop star. I thought it was going to be, you know, pop star versus folksy guitar boy, which it kind of was, but I didn't immediately assume that. I guess, again, ties into the fact I haven't seen Little Mermaid as many times as the other films. I forgot the living in another world and falling immediately for this other man aspect of it. I thought maybe that would be toned down, but it's not toned down. It's actually part of the narrative, and I think it works. I don't think it's to a detriment.
No, I think it works really well. The covers are so basic.
Yeah. I mean, that's what grabbed me and made me want to do this series, because that book talk cover aesthetic is so specific.
Yeah.
And that was why immediately when I saw it, it was like, oh, well, Disney's doing book talk. That's the grind. That's what they're going for.
It is what they're going for.
I will say, just based on, if we're looking at the appearance of characters, I am happy that it looks like Ariel's a little thicker. It's not a central part of the narrative like it is in the first book, but I was like, oh, that's nice.
She is described as having hourglass curves.
Right. Which is good.
Which Ariel also has hourglass curves.
Yes. Maybe I was riding the high of my life, but when they described her as redheaded, I was like, oh, well, she's Dua Lipa, because I had just seen Dua Lipa live maybe a few weeks prior. So I was like, all right, well, you know, the world's most perfect woman, so.
Okay, let's be honest. We'll get to judge a book by its cover. We'll get back to that. I was reading it, and first of all, I was getting like Taylor Swift vibes, oversaturated. I hate her. I can't stand her because her music, whatever. But it's catchy though. Like, I'll dance to it. I know a couple songs. That vibe. And being British yourself.
Yeah.
I was getting S Club vibes.
Yes! Oh my God. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't, because there's Siren 7, then it's S Club 7.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had that vibe, but in my mind, find the picture of, oh, she's kind of Dua Lipa, but a little thicker just based on the cover, I leaned so hard into that it didn't even take a step back and think of the S Club vibe. Also because I feel like S Club, for me, what makes S Club unique is the mix of genders. Like it's, we got boys and girls. It's not just Spice Girls. It's not just, a boy band. Whoa, they're all together. And they got a quirky sitcom.
Yeah, I was thinking because they had the sitcom, but the music, even if you think it's good, you can't deny it's heavily produced.
Yes.
Very slick pop. It does get stuck in your head.
Bring it all back to you.
Beside the one-hit wonder they are over on this side of the pond.
What is their one-hit wonder over here?
I've never had a dream come true.
Interesting, because I heard that one a few times back when it came out, but the S Club 7 song to me will always be Bring It All Back, because A, I think it's a masterpiece, and B, it's catchy as all get all sort of thing.
It is.
That was the one I heard the most in the UK. And again, I was not actively following pop music at the time.
It's super produced, super polished. Even the conversation they were having in the concert in the prologue felt so heavily scripted and curated, and it was just like, it gave me S Club vibes, because while these are the sisters, so they have a relationship, it just felt like they were thrown together, which the S Club was, thrown together, and each of you have a personality, here's your color. Literally, the S Club, each of them had a color that they would even wear in the TV show, so you could remember who was who. I was getting such S Club vibes.
I like where your head's at. It was a weird mix for me of Dua Lipa, S Club 7 to a lesser extent. I also kept thinking about Perfect Blue. Have you seen Perfect Blue, the Satoshi Kon anime film about the Japanese pop idol?
I have not.
Basically, it with similar opening scene, there's a girl group of 3, and then one of them's like, I'm going to go off my own solo career, and announces it at a concert. Except then it turns into a deeply dark, disturbing character study about parasocial relationships and early online stuff. Very ahead of its time movie. Very weird. But I kept thinking about that, which is a complete 180 from what's going on here. So I was still getting an impression of what this book would be at this point. So it was hard to really track down one thing or another.
Yeah, so it had a lot of potential inspirations. I agree.
Yes.
But especially when they're like, we've been on tour for almost 2 years. So I was like, yeah, Taylor Swift did that. Sabrina Carpenter just did that.
Speaking of Sabrina Carpenter, I'm not sure if we're getting into the book proper yet.
We still need to talk about the book endorsements. My big finding.
Okay, then I'll save it for later. My big thesis about this book and why I think it works.
You gave it 3 stars.
It's a positive. That's still a 7 out of 10 if you times, or 6 out of 10 or whatever. Goodreads doesn't let you do half stars. This is a 3.5 out of 5. Goodreads, update your stinking app.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, this book continues the trend of the author of the last book wrote an endorsement that they put on the front cover of this book, which once again comes across very desperate. Is this something? I don't read a lot of series where they go to different authors each book, and so I don't know if this is a tradition thing and I'm just uncultured, but it just comes across as so desperate.
It does.
On the part of Disney to get anyone to say it. And I took a moment to look on the back of the cover, and I noticed, first of all, the second book didn't do this, but the book has a quote on the front, and then it has 3 quotes on the back. And for whatever reason, the lovely Jasmine, I will call her that. I didn't like your book, but I don't know you personally. You seem great. I will blame Disney forever. Jasmine has a quote on the front of the cover, and she is one of the 3 on the back. They had the same author give 2 quotes in a way where it looks like there are 4 quotes when there are only 3.
What they should have done is had the woman who wrote this book give a quote under her other alias. And then it's like, what are you talking about? That's a different author.
But anyway, I looked at the other 2 authors, and the first thing I noticed was the one above Jasmine's on the back was Farah Rocher, which if you do not know,
I had no idea,
is one of the authors for the Twisted Tales series. Another Disney property that takes old Disney IP and gives them a little twisty twist and writes it again and makes you buy more of the IP. So we have 2 Disney authors that are being held by gunpoint I don't know. Maybe Jasmine and Farah are great friends with this author, have read the book, have adored her since Magic Mike stripper guys. Like, I don't know. But it feels desperate.
The entirety of the Hyperion publishing wing of Disney is just like 5 or 6 women stuck in a room.
The third author is not related to Disney in any way, shape, or form, from what I could tell. Maybe her publisher is one of the subsidies of Disney publishing. I don't know. But she herself has not worked on Disney IP, and she writes contemporary romance in this style.
Okay.
So that is the first one. I feel like, okay, granted, Farah is also a romance writer. So that's also kind of a fair one. But like I said, I don't know. It feels weird. And maybe they just know each other because of Disney. They know each other and they're friends and they want to read each other's books and they're so excited about it. Of course, I'll give you a quote. You better put me on there. We're besties. If I'm not on your book as a quote, what are we doing here? That could be the case. But, guys.
It's a small club.
It's not exactly getting Nora Roberts on there, you know?
Yeah.
But all of that aside, I have looked everywhere for Tangled Up, and I cannot find one with an author quote on the front of the book. So I do not know.
Interesting.
If this trend continues past this book. But it has been a ride. That is what we're doing. Anyway, I wrote a pun. I don't know if you saw it. You appreciate good puns.
I sure do.
So for conversation, I started us off with Under the Sea, tea lights, city lights. That's so good.
It's a real good one.
There was no Sebastian, and I'm salty about it. But that being said, let me get this out of the way. The reference level game of this author, peak.
I agree. That's literally my first note.
She's so freaking good.
My first note is I'm kind of glad her name is just Ariel. I'm glad they're just, boom, that's her name. Because beyond that, I think I've alluded in the past of these books in terms of, I remember studying adaptations in middle school, high school, and we had to go and find a reinterpretation of a myth or a story or whatever to present to the class. And I feel like use that to justify this series' existence in the past 2 episodes or so.
To help you with your homework?
Yeah. That was an assignment I remember having, was when we were talking about reinterpretations of essential storyline. And I feel like for an older high schooler or someone of that age or someone who reads a little above their age level, I feel like these books, even in the past 2 episodes, I've used these books as like, I could see it, justify its existence through that purpose.
No, I absolutely believe this is for Disney adults.
Yeah, but compared to those other 2, what I'm trying to say is I think it works the best.
It feels more Disney references than Grimm references, or this is Hans Christian Andersen. But I felt like some of the Cinderella references were like, we have to reference the shoe and putting on the shoe and this and that. And it didn't necessarily feel as Disney referencey.
I feel as if this furniture is talking to me. Yeah, exactly. I always could hear the furniture saying, "You're welcome," when I left the room because I'm insane.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that book aside.
Yeah.
This one, so peak. For example, the levels of references. Eric and her go out to get drinks. They get this special type of drink. This bartender's like, "Ooh, I read your aura and I give you a drink," which is what I need in my life. I don't even drink. Give me a mocktail, but tell me what I want. I don't know. Bars are intimidating. But she gets a little trident in her drink. And at first you're like, oh, haha, it's a little trident because her dad and stealing the trident and da-da-da-da-da. And she keeps it as a little keepsake. And it's like, oh no, she collects all the things and whatever. But then later on, she uses the trident and absent-mindedly runs it through her hair. And so she's brushing her hair with a fork. There are 3 references from this one little piece, which is why I'm like, this is so well thought out.
Right. If anything was a little, okay, to me, it was the who's its and what's its galore, my thingamabobs and all that. And it's like, okay, well, it's a little far-fetched in terms of connecting the absurd material to this.
We're stretching it, but hey, she did it at least.
It works. Yeah.
It's not like last book that was, this is Beauty and the Beast. Are you sure?
What do you mean? I knew it was Beauty and the Beast because she could almost hear the furniture.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I'm still mad.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my goodness. But we start with the end. It's the end of their big tour. There's 7 of them. All of them have names. All of them have different wigs, colors. She has a scarlet wig, so she actually has dark brown hair.
Right.
Okay. All right. She doesn't have to be a redhead, but she's kind of a redhead. My redhead envy aside. So the tour ends. Everyone's supposed to get a break. I do think this author put a lot into the sisters.
Which I appreciate, because again, I didn't have that much of a connection to Little Mermaid movies, so I don't know if I ever saw Little Mermaid 2, other than I know her daughter's name is Melody, which we'll get to. But I also never saw the third one, which is the prequel, which has the sisters, because a part of me watching the original when I got older was, oh, sisters are just kind of there. They don't do anything with them. I'm sure maybe they do in the spin-off media, direct-to-DVD sequels and all that. But I agree. I think they did a good... There's a gay one. That's pretty cool. I don't know.
I don't know. There's just something about it because she really easily could have Boxo done it.
Right.
I can't tell you all of their personalities, but they didn't feel like by the numbers, oh my goodness, we all have one thing and we are known for that one thing and we don't really overlap or anything. The bandmates, I have a little bit of a problem with the bandmates.
Interesting, because let me pull up my notes here. I believe something I made very early note about and got very excited about in chapter 2. Here is my note. Ahem. Grimsby is a goth girl. They should all be goth girls. I think reimagining this crotchety old British man as a goth girl is inspired. And I feel like more adaptations of classical literature and Disney films from the 1980s should probably take note and reimagine everyone as a goth girl.
No, they were pretty good. So you have Grimsby, who is the British butler, turned into a goth girl. I will give it to her. An Appalachian goth girl, not really Midwest, Montana, but she plays bluegrass. She can play a mandolin, which, by the way, did you re-listen to the audiobook or did you read this book?
I listened to the audiobook.
I want to talk to the editor. I am pissed on the author's behalf. The editing in this book is atrocious.
Interesting. In terms of the pacing?
There are so many typos and continuity errors.
Oh, wow.
It is frustrating. For example, like I mentioned, Grimsby plays the mandolin. She carries the mandolin around. She talks about it. She brings it. She's like, oh my gosh, I love the mandolin. Whatever. Ends up, they're like, oh, we need a country band. She's like, oh, well, I play the mandolin. Works out. Gets to the thing and it talks about how she's playing the banjo.
No.
Yeah, that is not the first. That is not the last. Probably the most egregious, but it's bad. More than 5 typos. Kind of bad.
Interesting.
Skipping words, misspelling words, like I said, continuity errors. Like for the fact that Tio, her dad, is first mentioned that he was a wrestler when he was younger, when he's first introduced, and it's never brought up ever again. He is a musician for the rest of the book.
That's true, yeah.
And I don't remember which one, but there was a continuity error in somebody's description. And I don't remember who it was, but one of them is described a certain type of way, and then they switch it and give it something wrong. And so that's why I'm like, the editing is atrocious. I would like to speak with the editor. Do better.
They gotta churn these things out. They gotta keep them moving. Keep it going.
Disney has so much freaking money. You could do, but it pisses me off.
Doesn't matter. Don't have enough. It's gotta get out the door right now.
It pisses me off so bad every time I get a Disney book that's badly edited. You have the money. Stop. I'm pissed on this author's behalf. But anyway, Grimsby, goth, mandolin playing gothy girl. They're all girls, by the way. Max, the dog, is a girl with like shaggy bangs and whatever, and she's a drummer. Then you have Carly, who is Carlotta, who is the Spanish maid.
Interesting. I didn't think I remembered that she was a character.
Yeah, so there is Grimsby and there's Carlotta, and they're the servants.
Interesting.
And Carlotta does a lot of stuff with Ariel, like dressing her and whatever. And so those are the 3 band members. And I like that they have their own thing, but it didn't feel to you like they were siloed.
Yes.
There was no overlap. None of them had anything in common.
I mean, Grimsby, I was mainly attached to because I thought it was funny that they'd reimagined this man as a goth girl. I thought that was very funny. But yeah, they just kind of oozed together into this blob of the 3 of them for me. I don't know. I can hardly think of much to differentiate them besides Carlotta to an extent.
It's just, she's a goth, she's a drummer, Carly's there. Like, I don't know.
Exactly. Carly hooks up with
Vanessa.
There you go.
They just felt too separate. Like they each had their thing and never shall they ever meet. They shall never overlap. It didn't feel like real friends. It just felt that curated sitcom where it's like, oh, each of them have their thing and none of them overlap. In the very beginning of sitcoms, I don't know. They got there for me. But for a really long time, I was just like, they don't feel like real people. They don't share anything in common.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the fact that we have Vanessa, who is Ursula's human form.
Right.
And I totally did think Vanessa and Eric were going to be set up in a fake dating situation, like for publicity. That never comes out, but I thought that's how they were going to tie that together.
I was trying to figure out if there would be an Ursula parallel, and there kind of wasn't. I guess there was a little with the uncle, but...
It's Odelia!
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Adelia. So Adelia is Vanessa's mom. I'm not 100% sure why she's not called Ursula. She doesn't really act like an Ursula, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But Adelia makes a deal with Ariel.
Gotcha. Now I'm seeing it. Okay. I did kind of rush that part.
And she's the one, she has this relationship with the father, and she's really spiteful because of the falling out with the father. That's related to why she got cast out, and she's bitter.
Of course.
And then the description of Adelia with the black and elegant pixie cut, arched eyebrows, buxom curves, full lips, tattoo sleeves of eels.
Oh, well, duh. Then yeah, that's on me. Oops.
So she is the manager for Star-Crossed. I feel like they could have done a little bit better with the name. Because when you hear Star-Crossed, if you saw going into a music festival, you go to a music festival because of the headliner. You're like, oh my goodness, Paramore, MCR, Dua Lipa, Sabrina Carpenter, whoever you want to be your headliner. And they're like, hey, opening act, Star-Crossed. What type of music do you think they play?
Look, I imagine they come out in like rhinestone suits and they're like 60s pop or whatever. That's the vibe I'm getting from Star-Crossed. That's just me, though.
Star-Crossed sounds like a 2-act female pop group to me.
Yeah.
A girl group. They play rock?
Yeah.
Latino-inspired rock?
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch.
Star-Crossed. Okay, whatever. I feel like we could have gotten a reference farther in, like part of your world.
That seems a little too obvious. Part of the world. Something like that, like world blank.
Oh, by the way, the French chef, the murderous French chef, is one of the opening acts.
I genuinely didn't catch that until you said it. Again, my lack of experience with the source material is showing.
His name is Louis, and he's a band member in Le Poisson Bleu.
That's good.
Le Poisson, oh, I love Le Poisson. Keira!
It's been a minute.
No, that's fair.
It's been a minute since I pulled out my Blu-ray copy of Little Mermaid.
Songs including Fathoms Below. Ooh, that's the song for the ship's chorus, which he's on.
There you go.
I don't know, you're a rock group. It depends what type of rock, I guess, but...
Yeah.
Under the Sea. Poor Unfortunate Souls. Maybe it's a little too on the nose, but Unfortunate Souls, like, I don't know. That seems more rock to me. Yeah, part of your world. Under the Sea. I don't know.
Are there no songs in the last half except Kiss the Girl?
I guess so. Well, at least not like sung songs. There are score songs.
Right, of course.
Oh, I missed when they did a special edition of Kiss the Girl by Ashley Tisdale.
That's not even the best one. Guess who's on my Blu-ray copy singing Part of Your World?
Jessica Simpson?
No.
Oh, okay.
More modern. This was 2013, the Blu-ray copy.
Well, this one had Poor Unfortunate Souls by Jonas Brothers back when they were literally singing every song ever. Like, I Want to Be Like You from Jungle Book. Their Disney sellout was fast. Under the Sea by Raven Simone.
Wow. That must have been, I think, for like the 2006 or 2005 DVD. But when they shifted it to Blu-ray, this is in 2013. And who had a big hit the year before? In 2012, what was the song of 2012? Think about it.
Is it Rebecca Black?
No. I don't want to give any more hints about how I view this woman because it'll give it away.
Is it Carly Rae?
Is Carly Rae.
Oh my goodness.
She does Part of Your World, and I think it's really good, personally.
I had to sit here and be like, do we love her or do we hate her?
No, we stan. We stan unapologetically.
We stand on this podcast.
We do.
But yes, that's pretty great. But yes, star-crossed. Okay, whatever. That sounds just as curated to me as Siren 7, but talk about how you're authentic.
Yeah.
Because you have an acoustic guitar.
They're the for real deal.
No, I can't. The pretentiousness.
Working backwards for a second, if you were stuck in traffic and you started hearing acoustic and mandolin music, would you stand up and applaud, or would you be like me, just be like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, stop it, stop it?
Okay, here's the thing. We both grew up with Atlanta traffic, right?
Yeah.
We've experienced this level of traffic on a semi-regular basis. I feel like unless you are having to go in for a 9 to 5, you know when to go into Atlanta and when not to go into Atlanta. But if we are in standstill traffic, if I don't have anywhere to be, I probably do have somewhere to be if I'm going into the city. But I don't know. I'm a very, well, I can't control this, whatever. I might as well enjoy the time instead of being pissed about it.
Right.
And so if they were good, I don't think I would mind.
Okay.
If they were bad, I would very much mind and probably turn up my radio really loud. But yeah, no, the way they went about it, though, we both grew up in band.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, I don't know, we didn't pursue it as a career, granted, but there was just something a little bit too S-Club sitcom about, come on guys, we just need to sing a song and that'll make everything better. Like Mickey Mouse is gonna come out here and start conducting.
Yeah, they're pulling the La La Land, they're jumping in traffic, they're dancing on the car sort of thing. It's like it had that vibe. It was not just spontaneous like, ooh, roll the windows down and play, we're so cool. It was like, la, jump on top of the car type vibe in my head, which ties into my central thesis about this book and why I think it works for me. This is a decom for grown-ups.
You did. You were like, decom for grown-ups, parentheses, not a bad thing.
Yes, exactly. That is why I think this works. This is why I enjoyed this. I got the same kick listening to it because I also didn't grow up on decoms. I've been watching them with my roommates, with my girlfriend. We've been going through and getting caught up on decoms because I missed nearly all of them. And the same, oh, these are these cool mid to late 2000s rockers and they're doing this. And it's that vibe.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me.
But yeah, Starcross is up and coming. They're doing their best versus Siren 7, who just came off this really long tour. They're all like, we want a sabbatical. We want to rest. We've been doing Full Stop for 15 years. That is a long time. So they want to rest. Ariel specifically wants a year. Some of the other ones, like the oldest one, wants to go to law school. One of them wants to volunteer at a panda sanctuary, which I don't know if you can just do that randomly. I feel like you would need to have some sort of qualifications. But
I feel like you have enough influence and you're in a very powerful girl group. I feel like you can get away with it.
yeah, would at least be able to connect. But anyway, the point is they have stuff they want to do that is not singing in show business. And for whatever reason, Tio is like, okay, cool. screw the rest of you. I'm going to have Ariel be my golden child. And I'm going to force her specifically to come out of retirement 6 months. But he's like, oh, it's going to release in 6 months. So you have 6 months. And I'm like, so you have no break. Because those 6 months, she's not just going to be doing nothing. She's going to be recording. So there is no break. So I kept getting pissed off when they were like, oh, but you get 6 months instead of a year. There is no break. She is recording this whole time. Anyway, Dad doesn't give a crap about the other ones.
The other ones. I mean, it's true.
It's very true. And this whole book is all about Ariel coming to terms with how her dad is using abusive control disguised as concern of a parent, which is, baby girl. It's so hard because the fact of the matter is it's so hard to realize you were abused as a child if it is not the stereotypical you get hit.
Textbook example of abuse, right?
Yeah, if you aren't the stereotype, this is what abuse is. It is very hard as a child coming into even adulthood understanding that it was abuse because of the tactics used in emotional and mental abuse, especially from a parent to a child, because you already have a power dynamic that's set up where they're the parent and you're the child, and you need to listen to them because they're the parent and they know what's best. So there's already that power dynamic. There's already that cultural, you do the thing, you need to be obedient child and whatever. But then you also have this weird, all kids have this, where you believe your experience is the normal experience. And so even if you go to your friends and their parents aren't treating them like your parents do, you're like, oh, they're the exception.
Right.
And so you view your own lived experience as normal. And so you don't realize how weird it is and how wrong it is until you either are just straight up told, which if you are, then a lot of times you'll bounce back at it and be like, no, I wasn't, because the amount of harm that would cause you mentally to understand. Coming to terms with being abused is so mentally damaging, but it's like resetting a bone. It has to be done. It's growing badly, but if we ignore it, it doesn't hurt. But when you reset it, it hurts. And so it's a whole thing. So either someone tells you and may or may not go well, or you get enough external experience to realize, wait a second, this is wrong. And that's what happens in this book with Ariel. While she looks at, oh, you know, he's a man in show business and that's how all men in show business are. And then she meets Eric and it's like, wait, he's not like my dad. There are other options. There are different choices. He doesn't have to react the way he does. And then you go, well, that's how managers are. All managers are like this. And she meets Cordelia and she doesn't react the way her father acts. She's like, oh my gosh, it could be different. There are different ways to do it. There are healthier ways to do it.
Right.
He's causing me harm. Wait a second. Oh, and so that's what she kind of goes throughout the book. I think it's actually handled pretty well.
Yeah. And then it culminates in all the sisters confronting him together in a way that's not like, ooh, yeah, screw you, Dad, or anything like that. It's more of just, hey, the music is mine. You know, they are assertive.
Yeah, because even when you come to terms with the abuse, I can't speak for everyone, but I know a lot of people where the reaction is, I still want my parent.
Right.
The whole reason the abuse is working is because you do have that relationship where you want to please them and you have those buttons that they can press, like guilt and whatever. And so it's just not natural for some people that when they do figure out their abuse, they're like, oh, I need to fix them. We can still have a relationship. I just need to fix this about it. And that's kind of Ariel's approach with it. The only thing I think is highly unrealistic, because the more we were reading about it, the more I got Britney Spears and her dad vibes.
Yeah.
And we get to the end of the book and spoiler, not spoiler, we warned you. They come to find out their money has been financing the operation, their individual set aside money. And so technically they have ownership of it. And so they take over the company. And then the book is just like, oh yeah, Tio's going on a cruise to figure out what he's doing with his life. Yeah, he's figuring out how to sue them to crap and back. You're not telling me after all the stunts he has pulled in this book, this man is just going to walk away from this power that he has. No, he's figuring out how to sue them. He's figuring out how to slander them in the press, how to say that they're emotionally unstable, and he's been doing all this good stuff, and he's the dad of the year, and the public realized just how terrible they were. They would know. Look at all the stuff Ariel's been pulling. She's emotionally unstable. If she buzzed her hair is all I'm saying.
Yeah, might be a little too on the nose if they're just that, but the parallels are super duper there.
And so it was just at the end of the book, it's like, oh, he goes away. And I was like, lies. But
I guess we'll get into it. I did think that wow, Ariel's going crazy when it's just one of the sisters in a red wig was like...
Yeah, one of the sisters in the red wig goes clubbing and they're like, she's gone crazy.
Right.
Just the things that they're like, oh yeah, we went to a bar in Paris and I danced. Crazy.
Crazy.
What is she, like 25? That does remind me of when Taylor Swift was like 22 and she was wearing a strapless dress and everyone was like, oh, clutch my pearls. It's like, she's 22.
Scandalous.
I know she started in the industry when she was 16, but guys, that's a whole adult. This woman's 25, decides to go clubbing in Paris, and they're like, oh my goodness. But that does show the parasocial relationship with the brand of Ariel Del Mar.
Right.
And not necessarily the person.
Yeah.
Parasocial relationships. I'm surprised we didn't get into that in this book.
Right.
But maybe that would have been too much to throw in as well. But I do like how the book ends each chapter with some sort of media. And it'll either be a bunch of headlines or the transcript of a podcast or something like that. And I think that just does a really good job of world building for this.
Right.
And especially with the headline, it's a good way to experience it how us normal people are experiencing this stuff, because we're not pop stars. We aren't going on tour. We don't know that life. We would experience what Ariel's doing through headlines, through podcasts, through news articles and stuff. So I thought that was really well done. It was a good way of storytelling, of keeping us up to date on a bunch of things, but not spending a lot of narrative time on it.
Right.
I thought that was really well done. I really enjoyed those. That's how you find out that Tio's going on a cruise, is one of the headlines. It's like, this dude's going on a cruise. And I'm like, yeah, I bet it with a cruise filled with lawyers, but that's beside the point. I think he would fight it. That's beside the point.
You know what's crazy? And once again, completely off topic. Speaking of Tio, I was thinking of the Dadager as well. I fully imagined him as Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem played Neptune in the recent live action, which not super fond of the live action remakes of any of the movies, but I don't know. I had completely forgotten about that movie and that Javier Bardem was in it, but that's the vibe I imagined for the Dadager.
I imagined Hulk Hogan. They called him a wrestler.
But like Javier Bardem can be pretty well built depending on the role.
I just saw Hulk Hogan the whole time. Like an Ecuadorian Hulk Hogan. Not The Rock, not any of these other wrestlers, not John Cena, Hulk Hogan.
Of course.
Anyway, Ariel goes to a club to listen to this band that her sister's obsessed with, and oh my gosh, it's Eric, and they run into each other because she saves his guitar from getting stolen, and VIPs, and it's a perfect match, and they go and get drinks afterwards, and cue the meant-to-be quirky talk.
Are we talking chapter 5? Because that's my note for chapter 5.
I don't even know what chapter it's in, probably. It's near the beginning. Every book has had some sort of, oh my gosh, I'm so quirky for having this opinion the entire internet agrees with. And both books have had it so far, and this book only has it once, but it is there. I'm so freaking tired of people talking about pineapple on pizza.
I was about to say.
Shut up. No one cares. Eat it how you want. Why do you guys care this much?
This is a pretty unpopular opinion, guys, but
no one cares.
pineapple pineapple on a pizza. I think she also thinks maybe Jack and Rose could have both fit on that door.
Oh my gosh.
That was the one moment I was like, stop it, please.
Stop. I have never said this in my life. Touch grass. I hate it every time it comes up on the internet. It is such a stupid conversation that has been happening for decades. It's not that deep. There are weirder things to put on pizzas. I grew up putting pickles on pizzas. Shut up about the pineapple.
The cast of these meant-to-be books wouldn't last a day around you, Sam. They'd lose their mind.
It feels as manufactured to me as the whole Oreo dip it or twist it.
Oh, yeah.
Like anyone is out here obsessed with the cookie. Who out here is not eating the stuffing first? That was so manufactured, and it feels so manufactured to me, and let the internet continues. I can't. I really can't. And so this came up, and I was like, oh my gosh. But it's always played off like they're quirky.
They're so quirky. They're so different.
Oh my goodness. But they only do it once.
Yes, that is the only time. I'm looking through my notes. In fact, I took relatively few notes for this book. I, for the most part, was just strolling along, enjoying it. There were no moments I was gobsmacked like with the last one. There was no moments I was like, I was rolling along, having a pretty good time. That was the one point I was like, okay, guys, come on.
But it's only once. I'll forgive them, maybe. I was a little sideways looking at them. I'm like, I can't do this again, guys. So Eric in this date is like, oh my goodness, we have a merchandise guy that quit. She does a really good job of planting seeds early and then coming back around and making use of it.
Right.
Like Grimsby playing a mandolin at the beginning of the book. You cannot bring a whole mandolin on this bus with temporary whatever. And she's like, you have a bunch of insert beauty product that I forgot, so I can bring this. And it's mentioned once or twice that she plays mandolin in the very beginning, and then later on comes the wedding and it's like, oh, we hired a country band, and you're like, hey, the mandolin, or like the trident fork coming back up and being the fork she brushes her hair.
Right.
This one did a good job of having set up earlier that, oh my gosh, we don't have a merchandise guy, he got married and whatever, and so he ditched for us, and so he offers the job to Ariel. Ariel's not going to take it because she's a good little girl, goes back, but apparently is not very good girl. She's supposed to go on this morning show. She gets drunk as heck, goes back to the apartment. It's getting to be too late. She does mention later on, I could have totally made it, but I decided not to. Has this huge fight with her dad. Dad's like, you could never live without me. I was really expecting him to go break her stuff. Doesn't.
Yeah.
But throws her out, like, you'll never survive without me. She's like, fine. And so she goes and takes the job with Eric to be their merchandise people. Okay.
I will say before we get too far into the being on the road and the tour and all that, this is the first time we've had both characters' perspective, and we've jumped chapter to chapter. It's Ariel, Eric, Ariel, Eric. All the rest of them were strictly from the woman's perspective. And, you know, say what you will, there are times when it feels like this is definitely a man written by a woman. That being said, I do think having both perspectives makes a world of difference.
It's very nice. I agree.
It's a breath of fresh air, which is better examples of this, but there's a secret ongoing in this narrative, and getting his perspective helps deepen that. And then also it's just, I don't know, it worked for me. Having two different voices really maybe not elevated it to like beyond the status quo of typical young adult literature.
I do think it makes it stronger though.
It makes it stronger in a way that the first two books were not, for sure.
They were lacking because don't both of them use miscommunication tropes?
Yes, but I think in this one it works better.
You see the miscommunication from both sides.
Exactly.
And it's actually much more realistic versus whatever the last book was, honestly.
This guy having no idea what's going on. Yeah. And whatever was going on in book two.
And you're just wanting to bang your head against the wall like, it's really obvious. No, I think this book does a lot better job in it. It's a little contrived, but at the end when they're mad at each other and whatever, but...
For this series, the bar is low.
For the series, it's doing pretty great. I can see why people give it 5 stars considering what the last book was. But yeah, sorry, I'm a little stuck on the fact, and I have no experience with small band tours, but the only crew members are the bus driver
and the merch girl, right?
And the merch girl.
Yeah.
We have no sound tech. We have no marketing person. We have no photographers. We have none of that. Just the band, the manager. Apparently, one of the opening acts gets their own bus, but Vanessa has to ride with everyone else. We have the merch girl. One merch girl. Only one.
And these guys are exploding before the end of the tour.
They are selling out stadiums, and there is one merch girl. Every concert I have ever been with has several.
Right. They need at least 2 or 3 people, even for a smaller band.
At least 2 or 3 people, because you need one person to help them with the merchandise, and then one person to run the till. And if you're going to have 2 opening acts, that means not only do you have star-crossed merchandise, you also have Le Poisson Bleu merchandise and whatever the heck Vanessa's called merchandise as well. That's a lot of merchandise for one person. You're going to get stolen from.
I'm surprised more people weren't trying to steal the guitar like we saw happen at the beginning and then kind of never come up again.
Yeah, contrived reason to mean is contrived reason.
It worked.
You know they had to meet somehow, so that was actually a pretty good one.
It worked for me.
Saving your guitar, that'd be huge for a musician.
And if we think about it, like Ariel saves Eric in the original, in the movie.
He literally says in the book, "You saved my life."
Exactly.
Because she saved that guitar.
You can't dramatically, literally have her be doing CPR on him. Just do that. It works. But it is funny that came up then at that first show when they were nobodies, and then it never came up again when they got bigger. But whatever.
Yeah, like I said, I was just laughing a little bit. That's all the crew you need. One bus driver and one merch girl. That is the only crew we're taking. Okay.
I was really hoping all the places they would go to would be actual venues and places in cities.
You know they can't.
They can't do that.
They cannot.
It would have been cool to hear like a name-dropped Atlanta venue or whatever, but...
They skipped Atlanta, and I did take that personally.
Yeah, they were all the way to Savannah, and I don't know of many bands who do 2 shows in Georgia.
For real.
Atlanta, and that's it, but, you know, they were smaller at the time when they were planning their tour. I don't know.
Sure, but going on this tour, hanging out with them, she makes a deal with Ordelia. She says, "You're not allowed to tell him who I am," because apparently Eric hates the Siren's heaven, and oh my gosh, what if he hates me because I'm part of it? Prepare. Ordelia's like, "Fine, Eric's off limits." That being said, pick a flippin' lane, Ordelia. "Oh no, we hate him. You're not allowed to be near him. Anyway, go share a bed." "Oh no, there's a taxidermy in town. We can't possibly get you another room." Okay, here's the thing. Eric's off limits right over there. On the other side, the band's like, "Hey, if you sleep with her and mess this all up, we get to do our thing." So there's a bet that he's can't date her and mess it up. And I'm sorry. They get to the hotel. There's a taxidermy convention in town, so they can't get another bedroom. They walk in, there's only one bed, so they end up sharing the bed because one bed tropes is hotter than the sun with contemporary romance readers. I can't sometimes. I don't mind the trope. It's just so freaking contrived that it happens. The only time I have ever read a book and I was like, oh, this makes sense, was literally Moby Dick, where Ishmael meets Queequeg by sharing a room with him and having to share a bed with him because it's the 1800s, and the joke is the man has to share a bed with a cannibal. That is the only time I read it in a book, and I'm like, oh, this makes sense that this is happening. Because what do you mean guy was going to share his room? Put her in one of the other girls' room and have them share a bed. Put her in Ordelia's room so Ordelia can keep an eye on her. Which, by the way, I really did think the taxidermy convention was going to turn into a joke about furries. But we are not that brave. But come on, she walks up and she's like, I don't know, there's something about animals. I think it's a taxidermy convention. I really thought that was going to turn into, nope, they're furries.
Or scalies, and then they could be folks who are really into fish and stuff, and she could talk to the fish people.
So, that did not pan out. But what do you mean? Okay, fine. Freaking fine. We will accept this, right? We will accept that Ordelia is like, yes, you two should totally share a room. You have the hots for each other. You can't keep away from each other, but yes, share a hotel room. If I was a bandmate, I'd be like, you failed. Personally. How do you know he didn't sleep with her and he's messing it up? Whatever. Fine. Right? We have the first hotel room. We can't get you another room. Oh no, there's a mix-up. There's only one bed. We can be adults about it. Let's just sleep in the same bed. Oh no, we woke up cuddling. Fine. Right? Why does it happen 2 more times, and one of which is in Ordelia's own house?
We just keep stumbling into bed together.
They're just like, yeah, everyone else gets a room except for Eric and Ariel have to sleep in the living room together. And then when we go to this other hotel, they just share a room. But Ordelia's gonna turn around and be like, oh no, they're getting too close to each other. I better call my mortal enemy.
That was kind of crazy.
To come pick her up.
I was okay with some of the conventions of, whoa, sleeping in the same bed. Oh my God. I was kind of okay with it.
But girl, you can't be, oh no, you're talking to each other. You want to reveal the truth to each other. I better call my mortal enemy, the man I think is the most corrupt man on earth. And I know what he's put you through to come pick you up. But then at the same time, be like, oh yeah, share a bedroom together.
Her being the one to call him was kind of crazy. That was the part I was like, wait, what? That took me out a smidge.
I don't understand. This is why this is not a 5-star. The way Ordelia goes back and forth on that is so unrealistic. The fact that they keep being put into the same room together, even though literally everyone doesn't want them to become a couple, 3 freaking times in this book.
They're putting them to the test.
I get it. You guys love one bedroom, but you had it. You had it once. It was contrived the first time. It made literally no sense. Moving on. But I can't with Ordelia and her whole, Eric's off limits. Anyway, let's put you in all these coupley things. Oh yeah, and by the way, we're gonna shoot a music video. It's a lovey one, and you have to kiss on camera like 10 times. Oh my gosh, our model threw up. Ariel, you have to sub. Ordelia.
I forgot it was her who made that call also.
It's Ordelia. She just turns around and she's like, Ariel,
get in there.
Kiss Eric on camera. The brain doesn't actually know the difference between real and fake, and that's why a bunch of celebrities fall in love when doing movies where they're the romantic partners. But you should get over there and kiss Eric, but Eric's off limits.
It took me longer than I'd like to admit to realize that was the kiss the girl scene.
They're in a boat!
It took at least several mentions of boat. I was like, oh, right.
Maybe we're going to make the movies required reading for you before you read the books.
To be fair, I've seen Tangled and Mulan a million times. This is the only one of the 5 I hadn't seen several times. Or I've seen The Little Mermaid several times. I hadn't watched religiously when I was younger or even going into adulthood because I still watch Tangled frequently because it's one of the better, more recent ones. But yes, I probably should have revisited The Little Mermaid before we read this book.
Just a little bit. Anyway, they're whatever. It's a romance book. Eric and her get together. They have cute moments. I do appreciate that she has cute moments with the other band members, even the bus driver. You know, you spend that much time around each other. You're either going to love or hate each other. There is no in between. If you've ever been like, oh, I'm friends with this person and we have become roommates, you either love each other at the end or you hate each other. There is no in between.
Right.
There is no meh unless you've literally spent no time with them. So I do appreciate getting to see her interact with them. I appreciate that even in the text, Melody, her name's Melody, which I love because that is both her mother's name and her daughter's name.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you don't know, the vast lore of Little Mermaid, because you have the movie, and then you have the TV show, and then you have the book series. There is a vast Little Mermaid lore. So I love that she does get to spend time with those sisters, bonding with other people. It makes it feel much more realistic. Eric's relationship with all 4 women is the exact same.
That's why they were kind of interchangeable for me.
The band members are very interchangeable.
Yes. They're all just fed up of his BS and they just like,
Ew.
We spent like 5 minutes with him and we would never be interested in him. And they all have that. I kind of wish there was a little bit of tension between one of them. I kind of wish they'd done what you kind of alluded to.
Well, I I just wish the dynamic was different.
Yeah, or even one of them is named Vanessa, like Ursula's human form.
I would have loved the fake dating where they have to be fake dating.
Yeah, something, any sort of tension, but it's a cozy book, so...
You and I are in a friend group large enough that it has multiple women and multiple men.
Yeah.
And even though almost all of us have been completely platonic from the beginning of our friendship to the end, the relationship that you and I have with each of the guys might be similar, but it's a little bit different.
Right.
Like co-star Tim, your relationship with Tim and my relationship, he's the same person, but we have a different relationship with him because we're different people.
Absolutely.
Like the relationship that you and I even have with like some of the women, like with co-star Hannah, we both have a different relationship with her. We all do activities together, but we're different people with different interests, but they do overlap, so we're not siloed.
Absolutely.
They just don't feel like real people. All of them have the exact same interchangeable and yet perfectly siloed. It's just, they don't feel like real people. The sisters feel more like real people than them, and they're supposed to be the interchangeable ones. I don't know, but that's beside. There are a lot of characters in this book.
More characters than I remember there being in the original film. That's the thing.
That is kind of crazy. That's facts. You right.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. It's fine. We're going with it. They're together. They're getting cute. Oh no, kiss the girl, blah, blah, blah. There's a wedding they play at, but it's not particularly romantic. That's when they go skinny dipping, and then everyone steals their clothes because they're, adults.
He.
What is Eric?
I assumed Eric is mid-20s.
Eric's 28.
28. Oh, wow. All right.
And okay, skinny dipping, whatever. But stealing their clothes, come on. But also they're skinny dipping in a pool of a resort, like a hotel resort. Talk about how to get kicked out of a resort. What do you mean you're skinny dipping in the hotel? Oh my gosh. You're not actually rock stars. Oh, goodness. Somehow that doesn't come back on them. Anyway, Ariel and Eric consummate their love at this point because, of course, they're staying in the same hotel room and they just went skinny dipping together. What was anybody thinking with this? Anyway, they are together and it's great and it's wonderful. And then they're in Los Angeles and, oh no, my dad shows up. And the dad, okay, I did little bit. Ariel reveals herself accidentally to Max, who is a massive Siren 7 fan. So Ariel comes clean to Max, tells her everything. Max is like, you have to tell him. You can't keep keeping this a secret and pretending you're someone you're not, because she has been this whole time. So she's like, fine, literally going to see him. It's an Eric chapter. Eric's doing something with someone. I don't remember. It's not important. What's important is a waitress comes over or a staff member comes over and is like, hey, someone needs to see you in the restaurant. And I was like, oh no, what is this? And then it's Tio, and you're like, oh no! And can we talk about how I love it? I love it. They turn Tio into Ursula in this moment. There's a contract in front of Eric. You need to sign it. Super salesman, high pressure tactics. No, you can't walk away from this. You have to do this right now. He ends up giving him like, oh, you have 24 hours or something. And Eric goes back. He's like, no, I know what I'm going to do right now. But yeah, they turn Triton into Ursula, and I kind of love that.
Obviously, that was on me for kind of missing the eels and what's-her-name's connection to being Ursula. But you can kind of see credence in me thinking, to a point, Tio is a little bit of an Ursula. Because then at this point, he is. And then Dadager, I'm just going to call him Dadager, is utilizing these same tactics. She pulls back and doesn't make it a one-to-one parallel with the villains in the original film. She makes it more of a overarching tying contracts being villainous from the original film into the overarching villainy of this piece, because also in the film, King Triton is kind of redeemed at the end. He apologizes and gives her legs or whatever. And in this one, he isn't. He is kind of banished.
He's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy. So I think that's a nice reimagining, especially opposed to the last book, where guess what? Gaston was a scummy guy at the book publishing firm the whole time.
Yeah, that one didn't work. But the way the story was going with everything, it was so good. I liked it so much. I don't know what about it it.
This one finished strong for me.
Where I'm just like, I'm literally eating from your hand right now. This is so great.
This one finished strong, and I think it was that element of it was no longer a one-to-one parallel. It was here. The overarching villain is more so the concept of a contract in some regard. This girl wants to be free, and they do a very classic romantic cliche ending with meeting on the bridge and all that. And I was like, you know what? I'm all for it. The book has its ups and downs, but ultimately, like I alluded to earlier, I was just kind of rolling with it and being like, yeah, the whole time I was straight shooting through it.
Yeah, my only thing was the miscommunication is Eric's all, you were just slumming it for a summer. How dare you not tell me you were Ariel? Okay, Eric, I don't understand why Eric's upset. This mad. She gets upset because she thinks he signed a contract with her father. I can understand a little bit more why she's upset, because I've told you how horrible this man is to me. Basically, I've told you he's my abuser, and the first chance you got, you went with money and power. So I get a little bit more why she's upset. And Eric's like, go away, Ariel. And so she does. She just travels. She goes to the Grand Canyon,
Yeah.
as you do.
And then she just starts screaming in public. If anything, I would think that would be the Britney-esque meltdown where people are like, hey, this lady who looks a lot like Ariel from Siren 7 is just screaming into the void and encouraging people around her to scream with her.
No, here's why I love this scene. I love this scene because she starts yelling, and my realistic brain is immediately like, everyone's going to be staring at you. And then the book is like, everyone was staring at her. And then she ends up convincing this random tourist family that they should also scream into the Grand Canyon. And I was like, I could see it. I 100% could see it. I loved that. She ends up going on a bus, going all around, super unrealistic that she has no eventful thing happening in these very obviously Greyhound buses, but
yeah,
traveling with other people aside.
I took not even a Greyhound, an off-brand Greyhound. I took an overnight bus to New York City for just over $100. So it was a steal, and it was the most bizarre bus night of my life. Like, it was, people were screaming at the bus driver was screaming at us. It was bizarre.
Everyone has an airport story or an airplane story. Everyone who's been on a bus has a bus story, but it's just like, oh, it's uneventful. Okay. I mean, it's the end of the book. We don't have time for that level of realism, but yes.
Right. I'm a massive advocate for public transit, but even though I 9 times out of 10 have an uneventful train ride, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, nothing ever happens on MARTA. Like, things happen on MARTA.
I was going to say, though, I understand that you're for public transit, but are you for the public? Let's be honest. Most of them are great, but it just takes one.
It has its days where it wears me down, that's for sure.
But yeah, so they're mad. She travels. She goes to New York. Okay, I actually do like this. So the oldest sister, Sophia, is like, I'm going to get our money back. All our money is intertwined with our dad. I'm going to get the money back. She's studying to be a lawyer. Granted, she's had less than a first semester in law school, but thankfully they're millionaires, so they have lawyers. Come to find out, their money has been what's funding Atlantica Records. I don't think we've even mentioned that. Atlantica Records. So they're going to take control of it. He doesn't fight. Tries to pull at Ariel, whatever. Literally that moment where he was just focusing on Ariel and just trying to gild Ariel. Facts. Like,
yeah, no, I thought the whole ending was very good. I'm glad they didn't cop out. I'm glad he wasn't like, oh, I'm sorry, or anything. Like, no, they stuck to it, and I think they did it very effectively.
he just went away. I'll roll my eyes at that later, but but I do like that they ended up getting Atlantica Records, and I think they signed Vanessa.
Yeah.
I also do love the sisters rock up to Atlantica Records. The lawyer hands over the papers, explains personally. Not realistic at all. In real life, they would have sent a runner to deliver that. There are people that are employed by these large firms to go serve people.
Right.
So he would have gotten served, and then he could have read the papers, and then his lawyers would have contacted their lawyers, and then it would have all started going down. But we love the drama.
Of course.
Ariel goes on Tuttle Teller, which I love because this is a podcast we've been kind of following through the book.
Right.
And we love when a dude gets to meet his icon. We love it for him. Eric makes up with his dad because that was a whole thing.
At first, I was a little miffed that happened off whatever the book version of off camera.
It happens off screen.
Yeah.
But a little bit, I guess I was too shocked by the fact that two older people, I don't know how old they are, but they are definitely older people, being like, yeah, we're going to couples therapy.
Yeah.
They are doing that. So I guess I was too shocked by that to care about the reunification. I do like that Eric's relationship with his dad is kind of used in a different lens that Ariel is in a relationship with her dad, because her dad is abusive. He is financially abusive. He is emotionally and mentally abusive. And we see examples of that. Eric, on the other hand, had sometimes toxic family.
Right.
But they weren't abusive. Honestly, they just didn't believe in him. So them being able to reconnect, and obviously the parents went to therapy. They understand what they did wrong. They did the work before their relationship even got back together. So obviously they've already done a lot of work. But them being able to come back together and reconcile versus with Ariel where she's like, I need to be away from you and you need to do some work. I don't know. It just mirrors a different thing because people can go low contact with their family and it not be specifically an abusive situation, but that's still the best for them at the time. But I am glad that they were able to reconcile and that his family had a chance to come to New York and had a chance to watch him play. So that was pretty cool and that was quite lovely. Eric and Ariel get together. They go to the show. He's like, oh, I want to sing Goodbye, Goodbye song from Siren 7. And I kind of hate that their tour was called Goodbye, Goodbye. It's as on the nose as Michael Jackson's This Is It tour. A little too on the nose for me. Could have been a little bit more Disney. I want more song references, I guess.
For sure.
But yeah, it ends with them singing together. Singing Goodbye, Goodbye by Siren 7, acoustic version. And then that's it.
Was that the first time? No, she sang on stage earlier on in the book, right?
No, she did not sing. She played guitar.
Right. So that was the first time. Okay.
Vanessa ends up hurting herself and she can't play. And so Ariel... Okay, here's another continuity error. The whole reason that Ariel goes on to play guitar for Vanessa is she has shown the entire band that she can play Vanessa's songs. She has listened to them enough. She knows how to play guitar. She has played her songs on the bus. And so that's why everyone's like, oh my goodness, you should be Vanessa's guitarist so she can sing and she doesn't have to worry about playing. But at the end of it, Max goes, what other secret talents are you hiding from us? Max? Are you high? Anyway, I still liked it. I still gave it 4 stars. General thoughts is I really liked it. You can tell how much she loves the IP. You can tell how much thought and effort went into it. It's really good. This is the first book where I feel like this experiment of turning Disney IPs into contemporary book talk romance types has actually come together and has worked. I can't with the amount of editing mistakes.
And I think part and parcel with that is just how much of that is because of having 2 voices, having 2 characters you're hearing from. I feel like if it had just been Ariel, I might not feel as positively as I do about it, or at least I feel about on par as I do with If the Shoe Fits. But I really do think that having 2 different characters, having their perspectives, seeing 2 different worlds, because that's the dynamic of the Little Mermaid source material, I think seeing the 2 worlds and having those 2 perspectives helps enhance the adaptation itself. It gives more opportunities for fun little connections to the original source, but also fun differences, and just lets the narrative shine in a way that I feel like the other ones haven't really had the opportunity to, just because of the way they've been set up from the get-go.
Yeah, agreed. I could not give it 5 stars, though.
Oh, no.
Between the continuity errors and the same bedroom 3 separate times, even though nobody wants us to date.
Right.
And oh yeah, you should totally kiss, but hands off. Heaven forbid you tell him your real name. Yeah, I couldn't. I really liked it though. Like the first book tried.
Yes.
It almost got there. The second book did not feel like it was tried at all. So I wish this level was the first and second book. I think this would have been a much more enjoyable time. Although ranting in and of itself is a fun time.
Yes, I feel like I didn't mind the first one. It was fine. Second one, we've talked about it. I'm glad the third one is the strongest because I feel like if we started this strong with the first one and then the Beauty and the Beast one and then the Cinderella one, I would be a bit like, yay, but I probably wouldn't be as positive on if the shoe fits if I had already read this one because I feel like this is such a strong, nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah, because that one we were both like, I see what you were doing.
Right.
But this one, they got there.
Yeah.
Which we will see. Tangled is next. It's one of the highest ranked on Goodreads.
Interesting. Depends on how much you trust Goodreads. I don't know how much I trust Disney adults on Goodreads, though.
Facts. One question for the author. I am really curious if it was presented to her, would she have done The Little Mermaid Twisted Tale? Because it's done by Liz Braswell, and it's not Liz's worst book, but it's not good. So I'd be really curious if she would be like, heck yeah, I wanted to do the Twisted Tale. Or if she was just like, no, the reason I wanted to do this is because it's romance. I don't know. I'd be curious. I want more authors in the Twisted Tales because I don't like some of the ones we have. But yes, that's my question for her.
My question for the author is, I mean, just based on her bibliography and the book she's written, because she's very clearly a Star Wars person, written a few Star Wars books and is throwing in references to the fact she did that, what her experience was like writing for a Disney princess, basically.
A sci-fi versus
a sci-fi franchise.
Because there's different editors.
There's different editors, there's different vibe, the world of Star Wars literature is such a large pantheon predating the Disney buyout. It's such a vast, no pun intended, empire of literature. And so I'm curious what her experience was with that versus working with Disney canon proper.
Yeah, that's a good question. Rating. Finding a new underground band out of 10. They're still rough around the edges. They're not creating their high tier stuff yet, but they're just about to. Let's make this one of the bands as they get money and then they're able to do really cool stuff like Black Parade. So that's mine. I feel like we're almost there. We're not 5 stars, but I see it now.
Right.
The vision is there. I understand the project.
I'm going to give it 7 pieces of delicious supreme pizza out of 10 slices where the last 3 slices are pineapple on pizza. Because it's pretty quirky that there's pineapple on pizza. There's these little bits that are too quirky for me, or a little too like, okay, little lapses in the logic, little, what's the word? Contrivances in the narrative. But for the most part, I was having a pretty good pizza pie. Only those few quirky pineapple pieces were pretty crazy. How dare they?
How dare they? That's such an original thought. I'm so glad you mentioned pineapple pizza. No one's ever had any discourse about that ever. So read again. No, that's why it's not a 5-star for me.
Right.
We did it. It was fun. It was nice. I don't see myself really getting anything out of it. So that's why I'm like, I like it, but I don't love it.
Of all the books so far, again, it's the best one. If I were to stumble across it for $2 in a thrift store, I'd be like, oh yeah, you know what? That wasn't bad. It's a nice quality hardcover version I found. I wouldn't mind picking it up just to have it to commemorate or reading through this series with you or whatever. But unless this is the absolute best of the 5, I probably wouldn't buy it and reread it. Knock on wood, I hope we're going to have 2 more quality books ahead of us. But this happens to be the best one. I wouldn't be upset owning a copy or rereading it years from now, just as a nice look back on what I was doing. But I wouldn't go out of my way to read it again for sure.
Favorite of the series so far, this one. I think we made that abundantly clear.
Yeah, I think our ranking is the same for now. And I'm very curious to see if we differ at all on the next 2 books, because I would like that. I would like to have our opinions different. I don't want to go out of my way and be like, this book sucked or anything just to be different. But I am curious to see if we wind up, because there's only 5 of them, at least as we're talking, I think.
As of right now.
So I'm hoping that there are a few more, even if it's just so we have something to talk about and there's a chance for our opinions to vary.
Oh, believe me. If anyone's listened to more than one episode of the podcast, I am not afraid.
Good.
To have my opinion and to disagree with people. But The other two pale in comparison, to the point that we should probably be worried that the second book is anemic. Cinderella needs some sun, but I'm a little worried about Belle. But yeah, so definitely this one, but also a little bit. By process of elimination, favorite. I'd put this at an A rank.
Okay.
But it's not like an S rank.
Yeah, good. Above average.
Competent.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. We'll keep going anyway, though.
We'll keep chugging.
We're still here.
Keeping on, trucking on.
But have you read this book? What color would your Siren 7 persona be? Mine's purple.
Yeah, mine's green.
Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like, and if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Kiss the Girl with us.
Join us next time when we'll be covering The Seven Dials Mystery by Agatha Christie.
I'm Sam Reiner.
I'm Keira.
And we hope to see you in A Friend Here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.